back on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. Roman Gabriel III, your host. Of course, you can catch us every Saturday night, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. You can easily go to our website at afr.net, go to the archive to catch all of our interviews on this program, as well as on your Droid or on your iPhone or iPad. Simply download AFR Talk, free application, and you can hear it there. And, of course, we're everywhere you need to be, over 200 cities in this country. So you can go to afr.net and check out the AFR station in your area and enjoy AFR and Sold Out Sports Talk. Well, my guest coming in, I've had him before, got to know him through the Super Bowl champion Indianapolis Colts in 2007. He's a great story, signed as a free agent with the Colts and had a few really good seasons with the Colts before he was a free agent and decided to go to the Cincinnati Bengals. Unfortunately, on a HBO television show, Hard Knocks, which was covering the Bengals during that time, during a practice, he had a concussion, which is something that a lot of NFL players have experienced. And because of that, he decided to step away and to pursue something that he had a dream about and talent that he really wanted to do, which was to sing. And he's got great talent, and we're looking forward to speaking with him about his future with this and many other things with our friend Ben Utecht. Ben, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Roman. Thanks for having me on.
Well, the last time we were together, we were at the Super Bowl, and, of course, everybody had a great time down there. One of the things that interests me about the way the NFL does things is some of the cities that they choose to have the Super Bowl in that's kind of off the beaten path of, say, the Florida cities, New Orleans, and other places. But I thought Indianapolis was maybe the best Super Bowl I've been to.
I mean, I'd have to agree with you, and maybe it's the fact that coming to a Midwest small city, they really took nothing for granted, and they went after it. And because of that, it just became an amazing environment. And, I mean, it was so electric down there, and with the way people are in Indianapolis and how they treat you, I think that everybody came and left very pleased.
I was on my Facebook yesterday, and we had some Indianapolis fans up there, and I'd be remiss because the last time we talked, we weren't sure what's going to happen with Peyton Manning, and now everybody in the world knows he's a Denver Bronco, and, of course, we got Andrew Luck, the number one pick of the Colts, just a few weeks ago. Give me a few words. Talk to me about what you think the future of the Colts is and what you think your friend Peyton Manning, how he's going to do this year.
Well, I think the future of the Colts is probably one of the biggest questions in the NFL. I mean, they are obviously bringing in, the top quarterback in the draft and tried to surround him with some offensive talent as well. But, man, when you start over, completely over, it's going to take time. And so I'm kind of going back, 14 years to when Peyton, had his first season in Indianapolis, and it took a few years to get the ball rolling, but then you see the success that followed, and I think that is going to be something that Indianapolis is going to see. I think they just have to be patient and give it some time, and I think great things are going to come.
Now, that's going to be a hard thing to do for those guys and gals that have followed you guys so closely. There's so many successful teams. I think in that, what is it, in the 10-year run, I think that Peyton was there, you guys won 10 games or more in each one of those seasons. You went to the Super Bowl twice, the championship game, I think, 3?
Yeah.
Tell me about the town in terms of non-football, of how much they're going to miss Peyton Manning.
Oh, man. I mean, that's really hard to explain if you're not from there, but it's going to be really difficult. It's going to completely change the environment. Andrew Luck not only has to step into the biggest athletic shoes he's ever had to, but he has to step into the biggest man shoes that he's ever had to, if that makes any sense, because Peyton stood for so much more than just what he did on the field, and that's why he had such a close connection in Indianapolis. And so I'm hoping that Mr. Luck will be able to do the same thing. But I mean, it's a testament when you read about some of the things Peyton has done since he's left, like calling all of the all the press connections and the press people in Indianapolis to thank them for the years of support. I mean, I remember one journalist saying, I've never in my entire 30-plus years ever had an athlete call me and thank me for the work that I've done. And so that just goes to show what kind of a man Peyton is and the character that he has and why Indianapolis cares so much for him.
Ben Utecht, former Indianapolis Colts, Cincinnati Bengals, our guest on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk, and he helped lead and was a big part of that Super Bowl 41 championship in 2007, had 31 receptions, 364 yards, and a TD. But more importantly, that team was, as he and I talked about at the Super Bowl, such a strong faith-based club, maybe one of the most mature spiritual clubs I've ever been around in the chance that I had to cover this team. And you know, one of the things, Ben, that's really interesting to me about this whole story that goes unsung is Coach Caldwell. Mm-hmm. You know, when we were with Coach Dungy at the Super Bowl, obviously players have left because of the change. In knowing what you know about the owner, Jim Irsay, do you think this was the right move to let Peyton Manning go, or do you think, like a lot of other people did, that if others were willing to pay him $100 million, like the Broncos and 4 or 5 other teams that wanted him there, that maybe taking the chance of paying him that $28 million, keeping him for another couple years, and maybe giving Andrew Luck a chance to work his way into that might have been a better way to transition?
Well, that's a difficult question, because you really get into the business of the NFL, which is very cutthroat, and you know, you look at a guy like Irsay, who comes from an incredible corporate family and makes those kind of tough decisions all the time in the business world, and I think he treated this decision as the same way. I would have loved to see Peyton stay, and I know Peyton has been the kind of guy in the past to change his contract so that he can work with, you know, keeping players and making sure that the organization is running smoothly. But clearly, you know, they came to a point where negotiations ceased, and so. But the way it's been handled, I think, has been incredible, and I think that Peyton's new beginning here is going to be the most anticipated, you know, start to an NFL season that we've had in a long time, and that's good for football. And so I'm excited to see him as a Bronco, and I've got a couple of Minnesota Gophers that are playing on that team, my alumni, so I'm excited to see some other guys have a chance to play with a guy like Peyton.
Colts Super Bowl champion Ben Utecht, former tight end and now music artist, is with us on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. And, of course, you can catch him. You'll really love his Facebook page, Ben Utecht, Utecht, or at Ben Utecht on his Twitter account. He's a pretty active guy, enjoys it just like I do, and you'll see a lot of interesting things on his website at benutecht.com. And we're going to talk about his music career in the next segment, about where he's going and about what's happening with him ministry-wise. And one of the things that's been interesting over this last week, obviously, been, you know, the NFL world is shocked by the death of Junior Seau this last week. I know I was. We've seen a lot of things go on off the field. We've got a group of NFL players, a large alumni group that's suing the NFL with this whole concussion issue and how much they knew about the research and about other things that went on in terms of protecting players. Yep. We've seen Roger Goodell and the NFL go probably as far as they could possibly go in protecting the players over the last couple of years, and what I would say is a reaction to that in a lot of ways, and we're going to see how that plays out. But don't you think that people need to be careful in terms of jumping to conclusions about Junior in terms of, you know, automatically? I know I was on Facebook 2 days ago, and automatically some of these groups that are protecting and anti-NFL in terms of the concussion situation, we're blaming on that. Yeah,
I mean, I think we do that as a society. We love to jump into judgment, and I personally kind of choose to stay back until I get more of the facts. So I'm in agreement with you on that, and I think we need to just hold our tongues here until we see what the experts have to say on what happened to Junior. Now, clearly, you know, with his mom talking about some of the depression issues and whatnot, and those have been linked to concussions and whatnot. So I can see why people have made some of those judgments. But I think it's pretty interesting and tragic how much this has been happening. I mean, we just went through this out of Chicago, within the last month, and so you really have to raise your eyebrows, because this is uncanny. I mean, can we go back over the last 30 years in the NFL and see this kind of tragedy? I don't know.
When you look at the other shocking thing that I didn't know about was that 8 of those players from that '94 Chargers team that were on that with Junior Seau have died before the age of 45.
Mm-hmm.
To me, what are the odds of that?
I know, and I wonder if it's to get people's attention. I'm for someone whose career ended because of this, and for a father of 3 girls and happily married. I mean, it weighs on my heart, because I'm 30 years old, and that's within the next 15 years of my life, and that's a scary thing. And I often think and pray that that I don't experience or go through some of the consequences that these guys clearly faced to bring them to a place where they felt like they couldn't go on, or where health circumstances makes the decision for them, and that's a scary thing. And so I'm going to be an advocate for this, because I want desperately for people to be educated to the fullest extent on concussions and how serious a brain injury is.
Ben, about 30 seconds till we get to the break, but you had a chance to play against Junior Seau. Just quickly, your thoughts about him.
Well, he's like a Ray Lewis. He's like a Brian Urlacher, or a Peyton Manning. But on defense, he's a leader, natural born leader, and to perennial Pro Bowl or All Pro. I mean, the guy had it all, but yet must have been going through some major pain underneath it all. And my prayers go out to his family.
Me too. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Ben Utecht about the solutions to this concussion problem, and also about his upcoming new album he's going to be working on, and where he's going with his music career and some other things when we come back with Ben Utecht on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR.